Hello, thanks Calvin for introducing me. I'm Razvan Gavrilas, I'm the founder of cognitiveSEO, and let me tell you a bit about myself. So I started back in 1997 with the SEO thing. I did it for AltaVista, Netscape, Lycos, MSN, Bing, Yahoo, and finally Google. So I've worn many hats during my experience with SEO until now. Today I'm wearing a yellow tie with some random colorful unicorns, whatever that would mean. And I do love optimization. This was me back 5 years ago. I was a bit bigger, 30 kilograms bigger to be more exact. And I started doing some optimizations in my lifestyle. And I noticed that by doing small things and keeping doing the same small things ever and ever again, I managed to get great results. I think this also applies to SEO. And if we keep doing small things in the long term, we will see great results. So let's talk about keywords. And I have this cat which would introduce us into the keywords area. Why the cat? Because if you would search in Google for the query, how can my cat, you will get some interesting suggestions, like how can my cat make money, how can my cat become a model, or how can my cat just disappear. Weird stuff that you wouldn't expect people to search, but on a more serious note, if we wouldn't do proper keyword research and content gap analysis, we won't be able to tap into these new traffic sources. So you can get these slides on the cognitiveSEO account. They were just tweeted now. It's a 64 slide show. I'm going to start with them with a higher pace now, so we can fit them into the 20 minutes space. So the content gap, which I'm going to talk about today, the common knowledge says that your competitors have content that you don't, and that creates the gap. Well, that's the simple way of looking at it. And the more in-depth way and more correct way to look at content gap analysis would be that the content gap analysis process is the process of reviewing and identifying the required opportunities needed to fill the gap between your current state and your desired state. Because your desired state is always higher, you practically can do that by optimizing both your existing content and creating new content. And most of the people, when they talk about content gap analysis, they focus only on creating new content, but they forget that they already rank on lots of keywords and they don't rank as they should be. So that is also creating a gap. So this is what we've been doing at cognitiveSEO for our own site for the past 2 years, and this is the growth, the search visibility growth that we got, which is more of an exponential way of growing compared to the previous 6 years from an organic point of view. And this happened when we practically introduced a content optimization tool into our suite, and we were working on that. And what this did practically allowed us to optimize all of our existing content as well as new content that we would push out in a way that Google would like it more and understand it more. And I'm going to show you a step-by-step framework in the following, which will help you do the same. So the content performance metric, which is behind this, this content optimization tool in cognitiveSEO, is a metric that practically helps you assess the quality of a particular document or page to a keyword. And how it does that is it uses very complicated algorithms behind it, and it strips the HTML for a page, looks only at the content holistically. It applies natural language processing, semantic analysis, entity extraction, synonym identification, TF-IDF analysis. So it's a really complicated process behind that. But for the front-end user, This doesn't matter, and it's simple. It's a simple metric from 0 to 100. The higher the metric, the better the page is optimized. And it also gives you suggestions on how to optimize that piece of content by providing you with some recommendations. So, since we're talking about keywords, we know that not all keywords are created equally. And there are 3 important metrics that differentiate a keyword. And the first one is the search intent. So the search intent can be informational, transactional, navigational, and the new type of intent, I see it more and more, I call it the quick knowledge one. So the informational one is when you're searching for something that you want to learn. For example, how to do content marketing. The transactional one is when you're trying to do something. So buy a MacBook Air. The navigational one is when you're trying to reach a specific site, BrightonSEO, for example, or cognitiveSEO. And the quick knowledge one is when you're looking to get quick bits of information like time in London now, or car synonym, or car definition. So those Google answer boxes, which in particular areas allow you to do that. The second metric is the keyword links difficulty. And the keyword links difficulty practically assesses how difficult it is to rank on a particular keyword. And that refers only on the links side of things. So the more pages ranking there with more links, it will be more difficult to rank there. The same applies to the content. From a content perspective, the higher the keyword content difficulty, which is calculated based on the content performance metric that I told you before, it means that that keyword has more pages with highly optimized content already ranking. So back in 2017, we did a research. We took 40,000 keywords, analyzed 4 million URLs, and tried to understand if there is a correlation between domain performance, page performance, and content performance. And we ran this analysis 1.5 weeks ago after the Google March update to see how things have changed in these past 2 years. And the blue line is how it looked back in 2017. The green line is how it looks now for the domain performance or the domain authority. So what's interesting to see is that based on this research, Google puts less of an interest in the power of the domain for the ranking. It still matters, but it matters a bit less. The page performance, meaning the links that are pointing to the pages, matter more. And the content performance even more. So content optimization matters more, links to the page matter more, and links to the domain still matter, but they matter a bit less. So the framework that I was telling you about, the step-by-step process, it's a 4-step process. The first step is collecting the keywords. We all have various tools that we use to collect the keywords. Problem is that we generate vast amounts of data and without being able to actually implement on those keywords and without being actually able to extract the correct opportunities. So I'm going to show you 3 sources that most of you know and have heard of, but maybe they are not using them at their full potential. So the first one is it's Google Search Console, and it's like an iceberg. So you get a lot of data, but most of it is hidden. Maybe it's hidden and it's not used because there is a limitation in Google Search Console on the export of the queries. So you get a 1,000 limit on the export, but there are ways to export all of the data. And you have, for example, this free plugin for Chrome, a Chrome extension, which is called Search Analytics for Sheets. You install it, and you're able to extract all of the data. I took the cognitiveSEO site and extracted 56,000 keywords that we are ranking on in the past month. And when you extract the data, you get the keyword, you get the CTR, you get the impressions, you get the position, the average position, and the number of clicks. Critical data that you have on all of the keywords that you are ranking both high and low. And then you have the Google search suggestions. Remember the cat in the beginning. So Imagine that you're inputting 100 keywords to start into the system. You will be able to generate automatically all the combinations, which means tens of thousands of keywords, if not more. So lots and lots of keywords, keywords that already have traffic because Google Autocomplete suggests them. And then you have the Google Keyword Planner. Everyone heard about it. But it's a real powerful, powerful tool. And you can get from it suggestions at the query level, at the domain level, and at the page level. But there are limitations here also. And one of the limitations is the search volume. But I'm going to show you how to extract the real search volume in Google, even if you're not spending $1 in the AdWords interface. So, for example, when you paste in the Google Keywords Planner a list of keywords, they will do a forecast. And you can maximize on that forecast by entering a maximum CPC. And when you're entering a maximum CPC, the forecast will be recalculated, and you will be able to see metrics such as the impressions, the clicks, the CTR for all of the keywords in that list. And you can also change the date for the forecast, because the default date is the next month, but you can change it for an entire year or for a specific period of time. Okay, so adding even more various sources, you can get even more keywords. But let's say you generate hundreds of thousands of keywords. What do you do with that? So the next step would be to deduplicate them, obviously, because you aggregated them from multiple sources. And after you deduplicate them, you can do that in Sheets with the unique command. You need to start crunching the data. And we did this as an example here for this presentation. We used the cognitiveSEO toolset on a project that we're working on, and we took 82,000 keywords for the cognitiveSEO website, keywords that we are ranking on also, and new keyword suggestions. And we analyzed about 1,600,000 URLs. So I'm going to try to keep it as human as possible in the following, because it's starting to get a bit more geeky with charts and stuff. So on all these 80,000 keywords, we did the search intent profiling. So all of those three metrics that I told you in the beginning, practically we profiled them large scale for all of the keywords that we analyzed. So the search intent profiling looks like this for the SEO industry and for the keywords that I have researched. So most of the content is informational, and then transactional, and then navigational. And the links difficulty profiling, which tells me how difficult it would be to rank on these keywords, from a links perspective, tell me that most of the keywords are above 25 as a score, which means are medium and high difficulty. And the next, for the content difficulty, it's the same, medium and high difficulty. Not many low difficulty keywords that I can easily get. But how do I spot these golden ranking opportunities? So it's a two-stage process. The first stage is searching for opportunities in the existing content. And here is the Google Search Console data that I was telling you before. We took 56,000 keywords and we looked at those. And the current ranking distribution for cognitiveSEO is like this. It's a ranking distribution that you will see on most of the sites. So most of the sites have rankings, top rankings, which are a few, and the majority of the rankings are below number 4. So there is a lot of space to re-optimize and get higher position quite easily, you will see in the following. So how do we pick these winner opportunities for this huge amount of data? So we are going to look for the low-hanging fruits. And by looking for the low-hanging fruits, I applied two filters. A filter that says, I want to look at the keywords that are difficult on a scale from 0 to 50, from a links perspective, and the same for the content. So after I did this filtering, I got 15,000 keywords, which is way too much, again, to look on. But remember, we have the Google Search Console data, so we also have some impression data there. And we can apply this volume. And I'm only looking for keywords that have at least some searches, obviously. And I applied this volume of 500 searches per month. and then I split them by search intent so I can understand what I need to optimize transactional or informational queries. Okay, so I got 359 winner opportunities narrowed down from 56,000 keywords. The same applies to discovering new ranking opportunities. So the same process of filtering works here also. On 26,000 keywords we did this, and we extracted 337 quick opportunities. So we have already 700 opportunities that we can work probably for more than a year on this stuff to actually increase the ranking. So now is the step where you are actually implementing the ranking opportunities. So the first one is re-optimization of the existing content. And this is an example with full historical data on how it worked. So for this keyword, technical SEO checklist, it was an article that we published a while ago, and it was a ranking on an average position of 8 or something like that. And after a couple of months, we re-optimized this page. And we took the content performance score in the Content Assistant tool from 59 up to 95. What this means is that we practically used the suggestions that the tool was giving in terms of keywords on how to write this content so Google can understand it better. What happened after we asked for a Google reindexation, which is very important because you can speed up the process for Google to see your new content, is that we moved to position number 1, 2, and 3 in a matter of 1 day. So in the next 2 weeks, it took Google practically A/B tested our new changes, and it put us on position 1, position 2, and position 3. After 2 weeks, it pinned us to the top on position number 1, and we are still there for quite some time now. So that was about getting an existing content and re-optimizing that to get a higher ranking. So winning a new ranking opportunity, how do we do that? How do we create new content? We need to create content that stands out, and it gets more and more harder to do that. So first, you need to understand exactly the search intent. And by search intent, I mean you need to put yourself in the shoes of the searcher and think as the searcher does. And when you do that, you will see that things start to change. You will see that you will start to understand the user better. Then you need to assess how difficult it is to rank from a links and content perspective. So how much effort you need to put into actually creating optimized content, and how much effort you need to do in acquiring links. Be better, be different. It's broad, but again, if you put yourself in the shoes of the searcher, it will be much more easier because you will see that SERP with the mindset of the searcher. And the final process is obviously to create the content and optimize it. So since we are approaching the Easter, I took this example, Google Easter eggs, which is a keyword that we actually rank on. And I'm going to tell you the story about this ranking. So the Google Easter eggs keyword has about 80,000 searches every month. It's a pretty highly volume keyword, and it has a pretty high content performance, content difficulty, and a high links difficulty. The intent is informational, and people are searching for these Google Easter eggs, a complete list basically, and a way to see them action in Google. So the process behind it was to create something that stands out. And we created a complete list of Google Easter eggs. It wasn't present, a complete list, as we did it at the time. And we used a title that kind of made the user to be more interested in asking himself, what's behind this? So the title was the complete Google Easter eggs that will make you go, wow. So if we were able to retain the customer after they will see this title in the SERPs, they will tick to stand more, thus meaning a high CTR. And we optimized for a high content performance, which was 97, almost the maximum. 100 is the maximum. We used 76 keywords out of the 97 number of keywords that the tool recommended. We published the article. We did nothing more than just hitting the publish button and sharing a few times on Twitter and Facebook. No link building, no outreach, nothing whatsoever. And this is how the ranking and the organic growth look like for this ranking. So we managed to get, in the first days, position number 5 on this highly competitive and highly searched keyword. And then during time, we arrived now at position number 3, without us doing anything more prior to the moment of the publication. So a quick recap on what I presented today. We talked about content gap analysis, a more in-depth and correct way on how to do it. The Google Search Console data for re-optimizing on low-hanging fruits that you already rank on. The keyword planner, the keyword suggestions from Google, if you get them all together, you will have massive amounts of keywords. And then doing a large-scale keyword profiling. This is key to the process. So extracting the search intent, the difficulty for the content, and the difficulty for the links. And then filtering and narrowing down those big lists of keywords into a small list of keywords and opportunities. And when you create content, always create for the searcher intent and always optimize for the content performance metric. And repeat, it's a process that you will never end because keywords are almost infinite and opportunities the same. So start filling your content gaps today. You can do this. You need the perseverance and the appropriate tools to be able to do that. So these are some of the agencies and brands we work with. I didn't get any chance to say anything about cognitiveSEO. It's a tool which is a power suite of tools which allow you to do almost anything from an SEO perspective, not only the content optimization that I showed you. If you want to learn more, come out by our booth and we'll discuss on how we can help you grow your rankings. Thank you.